be right around here in the center of your screen. If you are on the browser, you're not going to see those icons all the time. They only come up when you hover your mouse over the center of the screen. So when we talk about these icons, we're going to focus on the ones that you're going to use most in your classes. So the one that you're probably going to need to be the most familiar with is this one right here. This is the microphone icon. It's going to turn your sound on or off. When you have the microphone icon by itself with no line, that means the sound is on. If you are answering your teacher's question or having a group discussion, you're going to want to make sure your sound is on so that your teacher and your classmates can hear you. If there is background noise going on, say that your neighbor is mowing their lawn or there's loud dogs barking or any type of background noise, you're going to want to click on the microphone and that's going to turn your sound off. Whenever there is a line through the microphone, it means that your sound is off. So you're probably going to want to keep your sound off most of the time unless you are talking. That's going to prevent distractions and make sure that everyone can focus on the teacher. The second thing that's important is knowing about the video. So when you log in, you can choose to have, when you enter the classroom, to have the video on or off, but you're going to want to make sure that when you log in, if you're showing your video, that your background is free from distractions. You want to make sure to remove any posters or anything that might have inappropriate language or inappropriate content on it, and make sure that your background is professional and ready for class. Most of the time, you may want to have your video on because you're going to be able to get the best experience from class if your video is on. Your teacher is going to be able to see you and know if you are understanding what's being said in class by looking at your facial expressions. So you're going to be more engaged and learn more if your video camera is on. It's also a way to build class community. If a lot of people have their video cameras on, you're going to be able to get to know each other and the teacher better. There are some times that you are going to want to have your video camera off. If there are things happening in the background, if you have family members walking through or children right there, you're going to want to turn your video camera off so that it's not distracting for other students. The other time you're going to want to turn your video camera off is if your internet is having a hard time. If your internet is not working and you are freezing or it's very choppy and it's hard for you to understand what's happening in class, you're going to want to click on the video camera to turn your video camera off. When you turn the camera off, all your classmates will see is a circle with your initials on it. There are ways that you could set a picture if your camera is off, and we can talk about those in another video. When you click on the camera again, it turns your camera back on. You may want to try clicking on the camera a couple of times during class because internet can vary from hour to hour or from day to day. But again, if your internet is not working well, you can turn your video off so that you are able to participate and hear what is happening in class. The next feature that we're going to talk about is centering yourself. The next skill we're going to talk about is centering yourself in the screen. So as you can see, when I'm sitting here, I'm trying to make sure that my face is in the middle so that everyone can see my entire face as I'm speaking. It can be distracting if you are speaking in class and people are only seeing part of your face. So always check when you log in that people are able to see your entire face and that you're centered in the middle of the screen. That will be less distracting for other students and everyone will be able to focus on the teacher. The next thing we're going to talk about is the chat feature. The chat feature is up here. It's next to the hand feature. You're going to go ahead and click on the chat feature if you would like to type something in the chat box. The teacher might ask you a question. They might say hello, or ask you what your favorite animal is. Whatever question they're asking you that may have to do with what you're learning in class, you can click on the chat and you can type it into the chat box. So I'm going to go ahead and type in hi, and to send it, I'm going to click on this thing that looks like an airplane, and then I send it, and then as you can see, it appears in the chat box. If there are messages in the chat box, or the conversation box as they call it, you might see a little orange dot. If you see the orange dot, that means there's something in the conversation or the chat box. So click here, and then you'll be able to read what is said. The last thing that we're going to talk about is how to leave the meeting. So most of the time when your class is over, your teacher will say goodbye to you, and then you will go ahead and you will click on this red phone that means leave meeting or end meeting. So when you click on it, you will be signed out of the meeting. The other time that you might want to try that is if your microphone or camera aren't working, or if you're unable to see and hear what's happening in class. You can try leaving the meeting and then coming back in, and sometimes that solves some problems. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to reach out to anyone in the adult ed program for help with this technology. I can even set up an appointment to go through and practice some of these different technology features with you if you'd like more practice before class starts. Thank you and have a nice day.